This is your Sleepless God back with a new video of what if Percy was trained by Hades and Persephone. Now, starting this out, uh, Percy's mom died of a tumor in her brain. Poseidon tried to comfort her as much as physically possible, but luckily in time she had Percy. She saw her little boy grow up to 2 years old at that time. But she finally died. As Poseidon wants to take care of Percy, wants to be connected to him, but cannot. With his duties and all the things, the rules itself, if he brought him back to Olympus, Zeus would instantly kill Percy with no hesitation. Poseidon knows this. So he takes him down to his brother, Hades. As he talks to Hades, saying, "Brother, please, please," as Hades he times this perfectly where Persephone is going to be there, obviously. "My brother, please, please. I just need my son to be protected. And he says the magical words, "I'll owe you a massive favor." As Hades stands up and says, "A favor, you say? Well, you have a deal. But this favor, whatever I say, you would have to do." As Poseidon looks at him and says, "Deal." As they shake hands and they pledge on the river Styx. If he gives him a little baby Percy. Now, even when Percy is a kid, 4 years old, he starts to train. Trains in two different types of categories. One, nature magic with Persephone, and two, swordsmanship with Hades. Now, Hades is not such a swordsman himself, but he has a lot of the dead. Ancient swordsmen from long past, ancient warriors from long past that is willing and wanting to teach a new teacher, teach a new kid. Now, Hades gives him a personal black blade, personally made for him. Weighted is perfectly for Percy, and it will grow in weight the older he gets. It's a little heavy though for his age. 4-year-old is roughly 3 pounds, and he gets trained very intensely in swordplay, but also intensely in magic. Mostly nature magic. So what it means by that is nature magic is a segment. I'm going to explain this now. This is how it's going to work. Is a segment of multiple types of magic. Nature magic is what Persephone masters in. No one in this world, maybe except her mother, can beat her in nature magic. Because she also separates in technically because she is the queen of the dead, queen of the underworld. She separated her power. She separated into dark magic, something with and dead magic technically is a side piece of dark magic. Same with the Hades, her husband, and separate into nature magic. Persephone teaches young Percy how to take magic from the ground and from the earth and use it very well too. For even how young Percy is, he can use highly adept magic abilities. Not even like some sorcerers are able to do it now, but it comes with a cost. It always comes with a cost. Percy using this type of magic, he has to literally suck energy out of the earth and store it somewhere. With this, it takes time and energy to do that. Now, think of it. Think magic like a bottle. And taking it is like grabbing water. You can fill up the bottle. But when it's full, it's full. And you can put a cap on it and you can keep it in the bottle. But when you start emptying that stuff into magic or whatever you want, into drinking it and start using it, when that is empty. And you have to take time and energy refilling the bottle. But with that, Percy, with his nature magic itself and his mastery with water, because he learned this, starts becoming a true warrior, a hero. But he does figure something out very quickly. His strategy does not provide to protect, shield, no. His strategy is attack, barely block, attack, dodge. He does not want to block. He wants to dodge. What that counters to is, yes, he could, if there's multiple enemies, yes, that can be a problem sometimes, but in his eyes, if I want to tire out them before I get tired, in this sense, he starts practicing on dual wielding. Now, he starts out with his normal black blade and small knife, practicing the movements of a quick stab, maybe to the chest, and like a flourish to the head, maybe cutting off of it. Real quick movements. This is 6-year-old Percy. He's already mastering a couple of things that older fighters that are teaching him now are like impressed by. Now, Persephone and Hades are loving Percy, loving him like a kid of his own. So, with that, Persephone is overprotective because of him for multiple reasons. Number one, she's never really had a kid of her own. She's had a couple, and the one that she did have died, but still, she's very overprotective of Percy. Hades is not overprotective, but he knows what the destiny is. He heard the prophecy. He knows what this is. So, he's trying to prepare Percy for the real world. So is Persephone, but in different ways. Hades is trying to teach him how to fight and how to keep himself to defeat anyone. He has to defeat anyone and just strategize against anyone. He teaches him fighting style, strategy, how to manipulate your enemies, how to make your enemies think you're dumb, but actually you're the smartest person in the room. Persephone is teaching him history, knowledge, mathematics, and also how to protect people, how to use the wild to your own will, and how to make people how to make almost people fear you. Now you might think this is Hades, but no. Persephone wants him to be protected, so he has to make people fear him, be scared of him a little bit. And she taught him that you should always have friends on your back. Now, with that, Hades and Persephone knew this is going to happen. Now, for the couple years he's been living, he understands that Persephone has to leave for 8 months. He understands that. That means his magic training is a little bit less than his swordplay training. Now, when Persephone was gone one of these times, Hades did attack the girl, what the fuck is her name? Talia? Yeah, sorry, Talia. Not for the same reason he did. He did not want to punish Zeus. He wanted to train Percy. Now, he thought he fucked up because he waited a little bit too long. He thought he had a perfect time. Perfect. Luckily enough, they got caught up on something. So he didn't send his Furies this time, but he did send a bunch of hellhounds. And then he sent Percy out there. Now this is where that went. Now, Talia did do her sacrifice. Did want to do her sacrifice of, oh, I'm going to sacrifice for the camp. Percy showed up out of nowhere with a blade in one, two blades in both hands, as roughly 30 hellhounds are looking at them. As Talia is looking at him and says, "Who are you? What are you doing here? You need to get out of here." As Percy smiles at her and says, "Well, you know how it is, a couple hellhounds, a couple story missions." As you start walking up to Talia, as Talia's like backing up a little bit, he's like, "Get away from me." She has Aegis in her hand. As he's like, he slows down the steps and he's like, "Aegis, what a scary looking motherfucker." As he looks Talia in the eyes, as he's a 7-year-old, Talia was like 2 years older than Annabeth. Annabeth was 7, same as Percy. As Talia's a little bit older, as he looks at her and just says, "You don't need to die here." For what? The act of gods. It's my training, technically. So you can escape. As Talia's like, "No, I can't." As he kicks Aegis as he pushes her down the hill. She rolls it down and makes it to Camp Half-Blood as Percy turns back around with his 2 swords and says, "Well, are we gonna do this, or are we just gonna have a stare off?" As all 30 hellhounds charge, as he, boom, boom, destroys all 30 of them, with a couple scratches in his chest and 1 scratch on his cheek. That's it. All he had from that fight was a couple scratches and a chuckle. As hours went by, people heard like dogs, like when they heard slashings, growling, flames, and everything. And then like just an hour just went by as they traveled back up there. I'm gonna say Talia, Luke, Chiron, and Mr. D all travels up there to check the area. As they saw trees like tree leaves like wrapped around hellhounds' necks and snapping them finally and destroying them, as they saw dust everywhere. But they didn't see Percy. Percy walks away, leaving this place before he can ever get caught. As Percy's back in the underworld, and as Hades is impressed, incredibly impressed, like a dad almost, as he gives him a prize, technically a quest. There's a couple items that he personally made from the dead, the energy and the mass of all of the creatures in Tartarus. One of them he gave to one of his sons, gave to 3 of his sons long ago. One of them he gave to take down a kingdom. The other one he gave to be recepted into his family line and marry a woman. And the other one he gave to he gave to a Holocaust. One of his sons, who was adopted by a Jewish family. He gave this to him to kill every German who stepped in his way. He explains it to him that it's a hard thing to grab, but it's going to be immense. Now, with this, it has 3 abilities to it. It is called the Chains of the Chains of Armageddon. Sorry. What it does is it has 6 lines. It almost looks like barbed wire in some sense of the word. He explains it. With this, number 1, you can push it back. You can push back the amount of energy you need. So it's basically like coffee shoved into your head, or like 30 Red Bulls. You can fight for another hour without getting tired 6 times. Number 2, it gives you a healing factor. Even if you have bones sticking out or like close to death, if you're still alive, you will not die. The only thing that can take you is age. And the third ability is it resists emotional things. What it means by that is Hades hates when the gods affect them emotionally. Especially the god of war, Ares, when he makes people angry. And he doesn't want this with his basically adopted son. So, he made this. He didn't make this particularly for him, but he made this to basically nullify it. Like, it still affects, but it's more like a filter. Like, it still sometimes hits, but it's not as volatile. Same with any other god. Love gods. Especially or Artemis. If they're trying to do bloodlust or trying to make them look like oppose them on him, it's almost like a filter. It will filter out that stuff and it will make him calm, relaxed. As Percy goes on this quest to find it, is this where we're going to end off. I'll see you guys next time.